Excellent. All right, Tuesday, October 12th, and here we are at 1 p.m. to finish off the fifth and final session of this first series, focusing on the CVC-OEI course design rubric. I see familiar faces in the room. I see some folks who haven't been to previous sessions. Everyone is welcome. I am thrilled to be with you today as we talk about section D, accessibility, in terms of the CVC-OEI rubric. Before we get to that, let me just highlight a couple of things, and then we will dig into this wonderful section of the rubric. First and foremost, I welcome participation. So if you like to participate in the chat, if you like the raise hand function, if you prefer to just unmute and chime in, I am here for that. So please feel free to participate during the next hour of our time together. I'd be more than happy to take your comments and questions as we move through these items. Secondly, if you would please ensure that you do stay muted unless you want to speak up and share something. We want to reduce background noise for other folks in the room. And then also I have enabled the meeting live transcript. So at the bottom of your Zoom window, you should see the option for CC. You can turn that on if you would like those enabled in your screen. I think they're pretty neat and helpful. And then, of course, as always, if for some reason I disappear for no apparent reason, it means my Zoom froze. I will return as quickly as humanly possible. Please keep yourselves entertained for as long as you possibly can. Give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. But hopefully that won't happen, and we can get to some content today that will help every single one of us. So a couple of things. First of all, those of you who've been coming to these throughout this session, you know the routine by now. I'm going to start by sharing my slideshow presentation for the day. This is the same slideshow I've been sharing this entire time. So those of you who already have it, here you go again. If anybody in the room is new, there it is in the chat. You're welcome to follow along or keep that for your records. It's gotten pretty long. I usually don't like long slideshow presentations, but this one I didn't have much choice. So it's pretty substantial, but it has everything from literally 5 hours worth of workshops. So it's all there for you. Also, speaking of previous workshops, I wanted to just remind you that we've been recording these sessions the entire time. If you missed one, you can go on back and take a look at what you missed. To do that, I'm sharing my screen. Here we go. To do that, all you need to do is go to in Canvas, Online Faculty Learning and Development. Every one of you should be a student in this shell. If you're not, just let me know. I'll get you enrolled. But you can click on Video Tutorials right on the home page. And then look, see this one? Workshop Recording, CVC-OEI Rubric, Section A, B, C, and D. Click on that. And at the top is the slideshow presentation I just threw into the chat for you. And then below, we have the videos. Section A video, it's loading. Section B video, Section C video, and then finally, probably tomorrow, give me about a day, I will have this current session video loaded right there too. So again, if you missed one, you want to refer back. These are not going anywhere anytime soon. They're on my YouTube channel, so I plan to keep them on the internet for the next 1,000 years. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to not do that. I'm going to make this big. Perfect. All right. Yes, of course you can still join Loredana. It's good to have you here. Yes, please sign in if you haven't yet done so. Just your name and department is fantastic. We are just getting into the content right now, so your arrival is well timed. Let's begin talking about section D, accessibility. And I should say, if anybody doesn't know me, hi, I'm Michael. I forget to do that sometimes because I do a lot of these. I am an instructor of anthropology, and I'm also the online education faculty coordinator. It's a pleasure to be with you all this afternoon. Thank you for coming. But today, that's better. Today, our objectives. As usual, we're going to begin with a very brief recap of the CVC-OEI rubric. This is our 5th workshop in this series, so that is probably not new information for the majority of people here. After that, we're going to look at section D of the rubric, and there are 16 elements. I mean, I told you all that section A was a bit of a monster. So is this one. It's got a lot of components to it, but we're going to break it down and make it manageable. Then we're going to evaluate some examples that demonstrate elements of aligned online accessibility. And we're going to practice redesigning our Canvas content and files for accessibility. Unlike the previous few sections, so sections A, B, and C, section D is a little bit different. And so this workshop is going to be a little bit different. Previously, I would typically show you examples that had already been made, either in my course or some other examples. But today, we're going to do some hands-on demonstrations on how you can take existing content in your class and make it more accessible in just a handful of minutes. And that will, of course, lead to the final point. Find some priorities for yourself in relation to section D of the rubric. Okay, so we've got a lot to think about, a lot to talk about, and a lot to show you how to do in just the next, 51 minutes. Look at us go. So a brief recap. Sorry, this is not very brief. It's too many words on a slide. My apologies. But brief recap of that top bullet point. CVC-OEI stands for California Virtual Campus Online Education Initiative. And that is a collective body of instructors and designers who put out best practices for online teaching. It's a very, very, very large group. Below that summarizes the elements of section D. And of course, this is in accordance with our higher education standards, the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we are making content for our students, and we need to ensure that that content is indeed accessible, no matter their age, size, ability, disability, what have you. And one thing that makes section D distinct from the previous 3 sections is that it's either incomplete or aligned. So remember the previous 3, you could be incomplete, aligned, or additional exemplary elements. Here it's you're aligned, you're accessible, or you're incomplete and you're not accessible yet. So just a comparison there with the previous section, bit of a difference. So there's 16 of these things. I'm not joking about this. It's a lot to consider as we build our online courses. I mean, I'm not going to read them all because we're going to spend a couple minutes on each and every one of these items as we move through. But this just gives you a snapshot of all the different design tools, accessibility design features that we should be taking into consideration as we build or redesign our Canvas online content. So we're going to dig into these throughout today's workshop. I also have good news for you. You are not alone in this endeavor. We're very fortunate to have a number of accessibility trainings at Long Beach City College. Again, I'm going to demonstrate some skills for you today, but some things we simply won't have time to do in all the time that it needs. Here are some links. These are clickable links. I'll put them in the chat at the end of the workshop if you'd like, but they will take you to 4 different accessibility trainings. And note, each one has flex credit tied to it. So just bear in mind, a lot of the things we talk about today, it's really just a preview, an appetizer, a teaser trailer, what have you. These trainings will go into much deeper detail. All right, but keep building your skills. That's the best thing we can do as we embark on accessibility. But here we go. Let's get to it. Let's see that CVC-OEI course design rubric. Again, this link is clickable at the top. I will also paste it into the chat. Where are we? Here we go. And in the chat we go. Perfect. All right. Again, this document contains sections A, B, C, and D. And we have already talked about these first 3. Now, again, note right here, accessibility, it's either incomplete or aligned. It's going to be one or the other in this case. So I'm going to scroll down to section D. And as I'm scrolling, I saw a hand pop up. Please go ahead and unmute, ask your question. Yes.
So quick question. So I see all the criteria. I see how you get to see if you are aligned. I guess it's 70% majority, 75%. What's the cutoff to say that you're aligned, respect you're not aligned?
For accessibility?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very interesting question. There is no straight answer to that provided by the CVC-OEI. Now they say we need to strive for everything,
sure,
right? We need to strive for everything. But there are some issues, and we'll talk about these things as we move through. There are some issues that are bigger barriers to online instruction when compared to others. For example, if you are posting video lectures and they do not have accurate closed captions to them, that's a huge barrier that needs to be addressed. And that would be, really that automatic incompleteness of that criteria. Other things, we'll just take this first one as an example, heading styles. That might be something a little more minor that would be passable, even if you were closer to that, 70–80%. But it's tough to estimate a specific percentage that you have to align because the CVC doesn't provide one.
So the accessibility checker that we have on Canvas?
Yes, I'm going to show that in just a moment.
So that gives you points, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gives you a percentage of how accessible is the stuff that you have on your Canvas page.
Yes.
So having that in the green, so I think it turns green after you are above 70%. Keeping in mind that, yes, you want to keep striving to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But would that be considered okay? Would that be considered, that you have an accessible canvas? Or I think, I'm talking in the sense of if the college is, if you're going under review, if you're tenured, then you're going on your annual review, or if you are a probationary faculty and you are under your annual review, like having a grade above certain amount, is that considered accessible? Even if I'm all for striving to have 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what would be considered okay?
I'm not going to say a percentage in terms of faculty evaluation. Again, there is not one in the faculty contract or the online teaching checklist. So I wouldn't want to put forward a percentage that isn't in the contract. But that being said, one way to think about it is based on the individual criteria within a course. again, back to my statement earlier, which of these items are instructionally, essential? And other things might not be so instructionally essential, and they could just be removed, or they could be modified later. But and again, I'm not trying to dodge your question. I sincerely do hesitate to put forward a percentage at this time, since the CVC and the faculty contract does not identify one. So again, it's tricky, but I want you to start thinking about it in terms of individual items. Looking at the whole course is great, and we'll think about that in a moment. But let's think about individual items as we move through. So here we are, section D, accessibility. And thank you, by the way, for that question. We should have institutional discussions about what is or is not acceptable. I agree with you. Section D looks different, right? We have criteria, we have checklist. Maybe it's not applicable. Okay, and you just check that. But then there's incomplete, aligned. And then also note there's a description here, and there's also different items. So you check the Canvas content. You check documents like a syllabus, perhaps, or a PDF document, a slideshow presentation uploaded to Canvas, even a spreadsheet should be checked for appropriate heading styles. So as we move through section D, again, the 16 elements I showed on that big long slide, they're reflected here. So what I encourage faculty to do as they build their courses and as they endeavor to make them more accessible is to look at each of these items really sequentially as you build or as you revise your course. Again, links, tables, color contrast, color and meaning, images, even getting down to accessibility checkers, videos, audio, flashing content, and live captions. Again, we have live captions at the Zoom meeting, so I'll just go ahead and check aligned. And then autoplay, right? So there's a lot to think about here. It's a lot, and if you try and do it all in one go, it's going to be exhausting and probably a little frustrating. When it comes to accessibility, I believe in making priorities. What is most instructionally essential that needs to be revised right away? Okay, but I'm scrolling back up to the top. Let's also consider this in the big picture. I'm going to jump over to Canvas. Great. What we're looking at in Canvas is an old course of mine from about 1.5 years ago. And I intentionally put this up today because I wanted to show you what was just referred to by one of our colleagues. Every homepage has a link here to an accessibility report, right? And clicking on that provides that, again, that holistic view of how a course is doing. And this one, 75%, right? It's my course 1.5 years ago. And it goes on to show us, okay, what needs to be revised, what warrants the most immediate attention. Like, for example, a very common culprit, if I click on this exclamation point, my PDF articles, right? 0% accessible. Yeesh. So while my overall score might be 75, if I assign readings that are not accessible to all of my students, then to me, that would mean that this needs to be revised first, okay? Because those are instructionally essential, right? I did a workshop last week that was 1 hour long on just this. I'll post the link for you in the chat after we're done if you want to check that out. I'm not going to focus exclusively on this accessibility checker today. But it is a very, very handy tool for us to utilize. And I want to walk the walk as well. This is the same course a year and a half later. And with some time and attention, I've been able to improve from 75% to 99%. And I feel a lot better than, and I'm going for 100, by the way. I'm going for 100. But you know, it is absolutely possible to raise this up incrementally, gradually, even from one semester to the next. You can make smart changes that will make your course much more accessible. So, where are we headed with this workshop? Again, we have accessibility checkers in Canvas, but today we're going to do some hands-on demonstration to show not just what are the accessibility issues in the rubric, but how can we revise them today in the context of a class. So that's what I'm going to do on Canvas. It's a little different from how we've done things. So here's what I'm going to try and do. I'm actually going to do a split screen. So we have the rubric on one side of the screen and Canvas on the other side. I think you should be seeing the rubric on the right and Canvas on the left. Okay, and that this will make sense why I'm doing it this way. But here's what I'm going to do. I put together a very, very basic practice shell in order to demonstrate some skills. In particular, I'm going to focus on this page titled, "Let's Revise This Page for Accessibility." And in this page, I literally took some content from my anthropology class and I put it together as I often do in my courses. So my students would be asked to go through this page, visit the links throughout, watch a video or two, and move on to the next item in their weekly module. When I made this, I intentionally did so, trying to break as many accessibility rules as possible in order to demonstrate how to do them better. But looking at this page at first glance, I mean, it doesn't look terrible. Okay, it seems fairly readable, fairly good. But as we move through section D of the rubric, I'll show you some of the things that really warrant some revision here. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to click on Edit on this page, and I'm going to show you step by step how we can make this accessible. First of all, Canvas, it's pretty cool. Down at the bottom, this little person in a circle, that's the accessibility checker. And clicking on that will actually walk us through how to fix different items. But for demonstration's sake, I'm just going to do it by hand, one at a time. See, it's already telling me I have 6 things wrong. I actually counted about 10, but who am I to speak against Canvas? But I'm just going to follow along with the rubric. So item D1, let's get to it, heading styles. The rubric states that heading styles should be consistent and that heading levels are used in the correct order. This is really important, 1, for organizing our content, but 2, for students who might be using screen reading technology. The screen readers will identify different sections of a page or a document based on how the headings are styled. So what does that mean? Well, right up here, I put Introduction to Anthropology. And it's bold, it's big, it's underlined. It looks like a heading. But that doesn't mean it actually is one. And I see this all the time in instructor-made documents and Canvas pages. Here's how you tell. look, I'm zooming in just a smidge, right up here in our text box. If I click on paragraph, see I have different options here, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, paragraph. Well, paragraph is just that. It's paragraph text. So something like this makes perfect sense to be a paragraph. But to format this properly, this subheading should actually be heading 2. Watch what happens when I click on that. Okay, it kind of looks the same, but now when I click on that subheading, it changed. It says heading 2. So therefore, a screen reader would be able to recognize this as heading 2. And I'm going to go ahead and not underline it. I'll leave the size there. I find that when things are underlined, my students sometimes think it's a hyperlink when it's actually not. So I'll remove that right there. Okay, so heading number 2. I move through my page. Again, right here, I have what looks like is a subheading, okay, because it's bigger than the other text. It's on its own line, but it's actually just paragraph. So I'm going to click on heading 3. Great. So now I have, look up here, I have paragraph text, but then I have heading 3. This will, and again, right now it's like I'm doing it one by one, right? This is going to take forever. But as you get used to using these subheadings, it will just become habitual for you. Right now, I cannot write an announcement without starting with a heading 2 and then getting into the sequential headings down that page. Okay, so that is one thing that we're going to start with. D1, heading styles. Next down, D2, lists. Look. I have 2 lists on this page. The first one is right here. And the second one is this numbered list right here. Some of you might already be noticing what's wrong with these lists. And I'll tell you, according to the rubric, the lists need to be created using the bullet or numbered list tool instead of being formatted manually. And again, that's for recognition by a screen reader. We know that, but all the time I've seen lists with the dashes or with a star, an asterisk symbol, right? In reality, to make this a true list, I'm going to remove those, select the entire list, and click on my bullet list tool in Canvas. Now that is a true bullet list, okay? And a screen reader would identify this as bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, etc., right? Instead of just saying hyphen, what is anthropology? Hyphen, how did anthropology begin? The same concept applies to numbered lists. Okay, here I list 4 items. I want them listed sequentially, but and I see this all the time, I just typed the number 1 right there. Or you might also see 1 period, and it looks okay, right? It looks like a list. But again, the numbered tool or the numbered list tool needs to be used so it is an actual list. So I'm going to delete all of those numbers, select those 4 items, and then select my numbered list tool. And look at that. Canvas does the formatting for us. I like it better because it gives it that little indent. Great. Now, a screen reader would be able to identify these items sequentially. That's important. This goes, same thing applies in our assignments, in our announcements, in our syllabi, in our research paper prompts, in our laboratory activities, what have you. Actually using the formatted number tool or the formatted bullet tool is absolutely imperative to align with the rubric here. D3, moving on through. Links. Links are identified with meaningful and unique text in place of displaying the URL. This is another one that I see all the time. And look right here. Look right here. I have two links. The first one, if a screen reader was moving through this, it would literally read https://www.americananthro.org/. That's exhausting. And never mind some URLs that get incredibly long, okay? So rather, what I encourage faculty to do to align with D3 is write out the destination. American Anthropological Association. And then I'm going to copy that link text, just get rid of that one. And look, I'm going to select this title, insert link, external link, and then I'm going to put that URL there. Click done. So much better, because now the screen reader will just read checkout, American Anthropological Association, and it is a clickable link. Okay. The same thing goes, and again, I see this often in many, many documents. Having click here is not meaningful. It's not descriptive. So I would advise, again, taking that same URL, I'm going to open it in a new tab. Okay, so here I have a page on careers in anthropology, and I'm going to copy that URL. And instead of having click here, here's what I do. I remove that and I say, click the following link, careers in anthropology. Again, that is meaningful, it is descriptive, and I will insert an external link right there. Done. So now I have descriptive links in my page, much more user-friendly. Moving right along. I know there's 16 of these. I'm organizing my time as best I can. D4, tables, 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 tables. I've made a table right here. And oops, sorry. Oh dear, that looks awkward. Okay, sorry about that. My split screen got a little wonky. Here we go. All right, so tables. D4 identifies that column and or row header cells are designated so that screen readers can read table cells in the correct order. Also, a table caption is included for more complex tables. Great. So this table, it's very basic, but I'm going to use the little person in a circle accessibility checker to fix it. And Canvas makes this so easy for us. Watch what I do. I'm going to click on the little person. And look, it takes me right to the table, because that's the first issue as we move down and fix things on this page. And it tells me tables should include a caption describing the contents of the table. Okay, I can do that. Anthropological research methods. I mean, of course, you name it whatever you want, but it should have a table, or it should have a title, excuse me. And click apply. Excellent. And then it also says table should include at least one header. What that does is it identifies either the column or the row, or sometimes both, that need to be identified as a screen reader moves down or across a page. So This table, you can see it back here, it has that first header row, method, summary, description, etc. So I'm going to identify a header row. And I can click apply and look at that. I'll close this, go back up. And look, it even made these bold and centered so that it's really clear that this is the header row and this is the table caption that I created, right? Right then and there, this table is now aligned with D4. Okay, so that is one way to rather quickly go through and revise your tables for accessibility, is click the little person in the circle and Canvas will do it for you. You just have to come up with that title and identify if it needs a header row or a header column. Okay, wonderful.
Can I ask a quick question here?
Sure.
Regarding the tables.
Sure.
So one of the things that drives me crazy, and again, it's Canvas doesn't like, is that I like to use table to organize the thing in my page, like just as if I have, more column of words, right? So maybe I put the picture, a button, and then I write the text next to it, and then maybe I put the file, whatever. So they are transparent tables. I don't use them as tables, but I use them to organize the space, to divide the space and put things so they're nicely aligned. If I have multiple pictures, things like that. Canvas doesn't like that. Because, so is there a way to say this is, a decoration, right? Like when we put lines, things like that. Is there a way to say that this is a decoration? It's not an actual data table that,
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, I've even seen Canvas trainings from Canvas that use a table to organize, say navigation buttons or an image. So I get it. It is generally advised to do that with limitations. So instead of having a table run, say, an entire page with different pieces of content within it, sometimes I've seen even Canvas recommend, hey, you can have a 1:2 table for putting an image and a text, and you can identify it as such. Now, the accessibility checker is still going to flag it, right? It's still going to get flagged. To my knowledge, there is no workaround for something like that, unless you actually give it a title and a header row. So it's tricky, and I agree with you. That's challenging. I do. And that's a good question.
Especially because there is no, in Canvas, in the text, unless you know HTML, it's hard to, make the object being at the same height or, align thing or to the left or to the right. I mean, that's really hard to do unless you know how to do HTML, right?
It is. And that's why at least this rubric often encourages simplicity by design. Now, there are ways to get more sophisticated, and that's a great topic for another training or longer discussion at our institution. But this rubric is really looking at, pretty fundamental design skills and features. So yeah, but it's worth talking about more.
But does it mess up the student that is using the reader, the screen reader?
Yes, it would be confusing for students in a screen reader. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I want to jump forward to D5 because we are taking some time on a few of these. That's okay. They deserve time, but I don't want to sell you short. So D5 talks about color contrast. There is sufficient color contrast between the foreground text and background to avoid difficulties for students with low vision. And again, I see this sometimes, something like this. I have black text that's highlighted with red background. I mean, just looking at that, it hurts my eyes. Generally, I advise not using the highlighter, or if you do, ensure that it is one of these very, very, very light options like the light yellow. But even still, when I'm building a page, I don't really use the highlighter. I might bold something to make it more apparent, but we want to be careful and mindful of the color contrast when we use that feature.
That's the main reason why you don't use it?
Yeah, and I don't see much purpose for it in the context of my class. Yeah, again, students with vision differences could have a really hard time with it. Now, we can get into a tool on how to do this absolutely perfectly, but that would take us a bit more time. I'm going to refer you to the 10-day accessibility challenge course, which will give you the time that issue deserves. Yeah. Oops. Okay. So color contrast, be mindful of it. And that leads us to color and meaning. D6 says color is not used as the only means of conveying information, adding emphasis, indicating action, etc. And look what I did here. And I see this from time to time, where let's say I'm talking about 3 things, and I decide I'm going to color code those things. So everything highlighted yellow refers to structural linguistics. Everything highlighted green refers to historical linguistics, and so on with the blue. That's problematic. Well, okay, for organizational reasons aside, that's problematic because a student with low vision wouldn't be able to identify the colors, and the screen reader would not say phonology is written in yellow. It wouldn't go into that sort of detail. So I advise against using that sort of color coding system by itself. Rather, I might encourage replacing this organization entirely with just a well-formatted list. And again, I'm rushing here, but we could do so like this, and then I'll select that text and make it a heading 4, right? Make this also a heading 4. And then after that, it's very clear I have no reason to color code or color coordinate those items. Okay. So again, thinking about how we organize content often will remove the need for color labeling. D7 gets to images. I've talked about this before in a number of trainings. When we post images in Canvas, in PowerPoint, in our syllabi, we need to ensure that they have alternate text. And doing so in Canvas is fairly easy. If I have an image here, and I click on that image options appears. And when I click on image options, look at the top right, it says alt text, and it's the file name, Benedict Meme JPEG. That's not gonna do any good for a student who needs a screen reader. So rather, I'm gonna put anthropologist Ruth Benedict with quote. The purpose of anthropology is to make the world safe for human differences. Great. Done. And then I click on, sorry, my Zoom is in the way. Click on done. And now this has appropriate descriptive alternate text. So again, students using screen readers will be able to hear and see this information, right? Good thing I had that quote memorized, huh? D8.
So that's what you do for alternate text. You actually write what if there's a quote on it, you write that in the alternate text?
Yes. Every time. And I say that because a screen reader wouldn't be able to make sense of these words in the image.
And then there's that option to make it, what's that? Decorative. So if it's just nothing, you just put decorative?
Yeah, I mean, if it's literally like
flowers,
a border around at the top of the page. You can put decorative image. When in doubt, I always provide alt text, even if it's flowers. I just put flowers as the alt
Okay.
text. So
Okay.
when in doubt, I err on the side of alt text.
Thank you.
Let's see.
Michael, sorry, would the reader say image and then read the alternative text, or would just read the alternative text?
Yeah, it would say image. So that's why this even says, don't put image of
Image. Oh,
or
okay, then
picture
I made
of.
mistakes. Okay, this is something that I do. Okay, I have to take that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to skip down just a couple because reading order, slides, spreadsheets, and accessibility checkers are really getting into the weeds on this. And those are topics to cover in another training tutorial. But I did want to talk about D12 video. It says all video must have accurate captions. If it has no audio or structurally relevant soundtrack, note explaining that, etc. So take a look. I have here a YouTube video for my class. Oops, sorry, I want to open that in a new tab. Here we go.
Welcome to the MCAT Multimedia Series.
Okay, great. And I just found this video on YouTube, as I know many faculty do, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. However, YouTube provides automatic closed captions. You can reveal them by clicking CCs right here on the video. But look what happens when I do that. Top left, English auto-generated. Even here in the settings, English auto-generated. Those auto-generated captions are typically very inaccurate. They can be incredibly confusing to students who need closed captions, whether they're deaf or hard of hearing, they're learning English as a second language. For one reason or another, they need to view the video on mute. They need to be accurate. So how do we do that just on YouTube? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to search what is anthropology. However, see, this is the video I just showed, huh? But I'm going to click on filters and select subtitles, CC, closed captions. Now YouTube will only show me videos that have more accurate closed captions that have been written by the content creator. So for example, I'll go to, I've seen this one right here. I'll go to this one right here.
If you want to sell online, make sure you stand out.
There's an ad, sorry. There's always an ad. Skip ads. And then now look, when I click on CC, it says English as opposed to automatic. That's what we want to see, that English option there. So now that I have this video, I know it has accurate closed captions. I even recommend taking a look, making sure that they are indeed accurate. I'm going to use that in my class instead of the one that doesn't have accurate closed captions. So I'm just going to get rid of this old one. Gone. I'm going to insert an embed, paste the video, and there's the accurate closed caption video. Excellent. Great. The same concept would apply to audio. I know some faculty have assigned podcasts or radio shows, perhaps. If it is an audio file or something streaming, it also needs to come with an accurate transcript so students can read along, or so students can read as opposed to listen to it solely. Let's see, what was the, oh yes, okay, I'm getting there, sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. Flashing content. Flashing content typically might be a .gif, so a GIF file, something like this, which already is giving me a little headache to look at. They should only be used if instructionally needed, not merely for decoration or emphasis. Also, it must not flash more than 3 times in any 1 second period or exceed the general and red flash thresholds. Again, so something like this might seem kind of cool at the end, but it's actually inaccessible. If a student or viewer can have epilepsy, it can actually be problematic for them too. So I'm just going to remove that entirely. Just get rid of that flashing content there. Live captions. We talked about that. We are in Zoom right now with the live captions enabled. If you teach synchronously using Zoom, I implore you to ensure that those are available to your students too. And then D16 Autoplay. I made this mistake for a long time. I would put a video into a Canvas page, and as soon as the students opened up that page, it would begin. And I thought, yeah, they're just gonna go right to that video. It looks like this. I'll open it right now. Okay. Yeah, see, no, I didn't press play. It just started on its own.
A lot of people are actually.
Now I had to click pause. Now, depending on where you get your videos from, YouTube or other sources, some publishers even, they might be set up for autoplay. The CVC-OEI rubric advises against that. And again, if a student is using assistive technology, so screen readers, or relies on closed captions, etc., then having something play when they haven't yet found the right window could be a barrier for them. So it's something I have stopped doing completely in my classes, even though initially I thought it was kind of neat. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We made it to D16. We have just a few minutes left. And again, something like slides, that's going to take some time. That's why I'm referring you back to MS PowerPoint accessibility tutorial, 2 hours of flex credit for you right there.
Can you post this link, please?
I will. Yes, I'll post it once I'm done. Reading order. Again, this is something that comes up when you're making a document, usually in Microsoft Word, right? I mean, I've run into this before. Look, if I have a Microsoft Word document open, let's say I'm trying to make a syllabus. I know sometimes it's tempting to make, really unique and different formatting, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But let's say I'm going to insert a text box, right? Because I want to have columns in my syllabus. Column 1, and then on the right hand of the page, I want to do column 2, and then I'm going to put pictures and text and in there. Unfortunately, this is inaccessible because the reading order is not identified when we use random text boxes throughout a page, right? So again, I'm not saying don't do columns, but I am saying if you want to do columns in your documents or in your syllabus, actually use the column tool, right? So I'll just select, I want 2 columns, okay? So now it'll and it'll make columns that are in an acceptable reading order according to D8. Again, something to think about. If you make a lot of Microsoft Word documents, consider 2 more hours of flex credit, MS Word accessibility tutorial, or even PDF accessibility tutorial. Now, with that, oh my goodness, my window is so full. Here we are. It's on the right window the whole time. that was a lot. And like many things, I encourage you to take this incrementally as you think about alignment with section D of the rubric. Depending on where you currently stand, it might be a couple things to fix up, or it might be something to take, some significant amount of time to revise and redesign and improve. Either way, we do have the resources available to you here at Long Beach City College. Very proud to have these courses open for you. We also have additional resources in the online faculty learning and development shell. You can click on modules, scroll down to section D, and we've got a lot of tips on how to fix your heading styles, how to make accessible links and files or videos too. So there are resources available to you. With that being said, we are at 1:57. I want to be mindful of our time. And I have to do some shameless advertising. Today is the 5th and final section of our time together, talking about CVC-OEI course design rubric. I've recorded every one of them, but I know some folks prefer to learn in a live interactive format. So I'm going to be offering this again. I thought I had it written on here and I don't know where it went, but starting on next Wednesday, October 20th at 9:30 to 10:30 a.m., I'm going to start this workshop series from the beginning. So any folks who are currently in class and couldn't make these but want to learn this, they can try it on Wednesday. Even you, if you missed a day and you want to come check out section B or C or A, come join us on Wednesday mornings. It's going to be the same content and putting it together for faculty so you can continue working on your courses. That being said, we're at 1:59. I'm going to call it. I will be here for a few more minutes if there are questions and comments. And thank you for attending today. I appreciate your time and prioritizing accessibility. Thank you very, very much. I will stop the recording now.